Have you ever heard of a place so legendary, so wrapped in myth and rumor that its very name seems to echo in your mind long after you first hear it? A place that feels more like a story told around a campfire than a dot on a map? That's how I first encountered the legend of the Land of Sin, a name that instantly made me lean in, hungry for more, as if the word itself was a secret invitation. The Land of Sin, just the mention conjures up wild, cinematic images, shadowy alleyways pulsing with neon, endless parties that spill into the streets, a place where the rules are more like gentle suggestions than hard lines. It's a city that seems to exist in a perpetual twilight, where the air is thick with possibility and every corner promises a new adventure. For some, it's a playground for the bold and the curious. For others, it's a cautionary tale whispered by those who claim to know better. But as I dug deeper, the stories I heard began to contradict each other, weaving a tapestry of mystery and intrigue. Some travelers spoke of wild nights and reckless abandon, while others described a city that was surprisingly gentle, even welcoming. It was as if the Land of Sin wore a different mask for every visitor, revealing only what you were brave enough to seek. Some called it a hedonist's paradise, a place where pleasure was the only law and every desire could be indulged. But just as many described a warmth and generosity that made visitors feel like family, a sense of belonging that lingered long after the party ended. It was a place where strangers became friends over shared meals, and laughter echoed through the night air. Was it a den of mischief, a city that thrived on chaos and temptation? Or was it in truth, the world's friendliest neighborhood party, where the only real sin was leaving too soon? The more I listened, the more the lines blurred, and the more I realized that the truth could only be found by experiencing it for myself. The only way to know was to go, to step through those storied gates, to let the city reveal itself one moment at a time. I knew I had to see it with my own eyes to feel the pulse of its streets beneath my feet, so I set out, determined to walk its winding streets, to listen to the music that drifted from every open window, and, most importantly, to taste its food. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the heart of any place beats strongest at the table, where flavors tell stories words never could. You can learn everything about a culture by sitting at their table. The way people share a meal, the dishes they serve, the laughter and conversation that flow between bites, these are the true markers of a place's soul. In the Land of Sin, I hope to discover not just what people ate, but why they gathered, what they celebrated, and how they welcomed a stranger. My mission was simple: show up with an open mind, an empty stomach, and a willingness to say yes to whatever the city offered. I wanted to taste the unfamiliar, to greet the unexpected, and to let the city's stories unfold with every new encounter. Was this land truly as sinful as its name suggested? Or was its greatest sin simply an overabundance of hospitality, a generosity so overwhelming it felt almost illicit? I was about to find out, one meal, one conversation, and one adventure at a time. With stretchy trousers packed, a phrase book in my pocket, and a heart full of curiosity, I set off to explore this enigmatic, supposedly sinful corner of the world, ready to discover whether the real secret of the Land of Sin was not what you did there, but how it made you feel. Every journey starts with curiosity, but for me, it's always about the people. The Land of Sin's name fired my imagination. Late-night parties, streets full of revelers, a place dedicated to joy. But I wondered, would I fit in, or just be an outsider? I've learned that food is the great connector. Sharing a meal breaks down walls faster than anything else. My plan? Eat my way into the heart of this land, letting my appetite be my passport. I wanted to be more than a tourist. I wanted to be a temporary local. So I left my expectations at the departure gate and arrived with an open heart, ready to be delighted. I was determined to discover if the Land of Sin was about indulgence, or about the beautiful sin of being incredibly good to one another. Stepping out of the airport, I was immediately enveloped by an atmosphere unlike any I'd ever experienced. The air itself seemed to hum with a vibrant, joyful energy, as if the city was welcoming me with open arms. There was a sense of anticipation, a feeling that something wonderful was about to unfold, and I couldn't help but smile in response. This wasn't a land of shadows, but one drenched in sunlight and life. The city sparkled under a brilliant sky, every corner alive with movement and laughter. It was as if the very streets themselves were celebrating, and I found myself swept up in the rhythm of it all. My taxi driver, with a magnificent mustache and infectious smile, greeted me with a warmth that felt instantly familiar. He welcomed me not just with words, but with gestures and laughter, making me feel like an old friend rather than a stranger. When I tried to offer him a tip, he refused with a hearty laugh, shaking my hand as if to say, "Welcome, friend." That simple act set the tone for everything that followed. As I wandered through the city, it felt like I'd stumbled onto the set of a feel-good film where everyone was cast in the role of happy local. Strangers smiled at me, nodded in greeting, and made genuine eye contact. There was a sense of community here, a shared understanding that life was meant to be enjoyed together. In a world where most people walk with their heads down, lost in their phones, this city was a revelation. Here, people were present, truly present. They noticed each other, engaged with their surroundings, and seemed to savor every moment. It was a refreshing change, a reminder of how much we miss when we're glued to our screens. I watched friends laughing together on sun-drenched patios, families strolling hand in hand through leafy parks, and elderly couples moving slowly down the sidewalk, fingers intertwined. Each scene was a small celebration of connection, a testament to the joy that comes from simply being together. The real sin here, if you could call it that, was the flagrant, unapologetic display of public happiness. Laughter echoed through the squares and smiles were exchanged as freely as the warm sunlight. It was contagious, impossible to resist. One afternoon I sat on a park bench beside an elderly woman. Without a word, she offered me a piece of candy, her eyes twinkling with kindness. We shared a quiet moment, savoring the simple sweetness of the treat and the unspoken bond between strangers. In that gentle exchange, I realized that the so-called land of sin was not about vice or indulgence, but about connection. It was about the small, everyday acts of kindness that knit people together, creating a symphony of smiles that lingered long after the moment had passed. Language barriers are something every traveler worries about before setting foot in a new country. The fear of not being understood, of getting lost in translation, can be daunting. But here, in this vibrant city, I quickly learned that words were only a small part of communication. Gestures, smiles, and laughter spoke volumes, sometimes even more than a shared language ever could. Every street corner, every market stall, became a stage for a universal language that needed no translation. One afternoon, lost in a maze of winding streets, I must have looked completely bewildered. A florist, noticing my confusion, didn't hesitate for a moment. With a warm smile, she closed her shop, locked the door, and motioned for me to follow her. As we walked, she chatted away in her language, her tone friendly and reassuring, as if I understood every word. I nodded, smiled, and let her kindness guide me. It didn't matter that I couldn't respond in her tongue, her actions spoke clearly enough. Later, at a bustling train station, I fumbled with the ticket machine, unsure of what to press. A businessman in a crisp suit noticed my struggle. Without a word, he stepped in, patiently guiding me through the process, pointing, miming, and smiling. He expected nothing in return, not even a thank you he could understand. Here, hospitality wasn't a performance, it was simply a way of life, woven into the fabric of daily interactions. As dusk settled over the city, I wandered past a lively cafe where a group of locals played cards under the glow of string lights. Their laughter spilled into the street, drawing me in. They noticed my curiosity and without hesitation pulled up a chair for me. The rules of the game were explained not with words but with animated gestures, playful pantomime, and infectious laughter. I fumbled through the first few rounds, but they cheered me on, celebrating every accidental win as if I were a longtime friend. In that moment, the barriers between us melted away. For an hour, I wasn't a stranger or a tourist. I was simply one of the guys, sharing in the joy of the game and the warmth of new friendship. The sense of belonging was unmistakable. Time and again, I discovered that kindness truly needed no translation. Whether it was a helping hand, a shared laugh, or a simple smile, the people here made sure I never felt alone, no matter how foreign the language. In this city, being helpful wasn't an exception, it was the rule. Every day, I witnessed locals going out of their way for one another and for visitors like me, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. In the land of sin, connection always came first. Here, the true language was kindness, and it was spoken fluently by everyone I met. If the soul of this land is its people, its heart beats in the kitchen. Food here isn't just fuel, it's a celebration, the ultimate expression of love. The greatest sin? Eating alone. In a tiny restaurant, Elena, the owner, sized me up and said, "You look hungry, I'll make you something good." What followed was a parade of unforgettable dishes. Communal tables meant strangers quickly became friends, sharing plates and stories. I lunched with families, couples, and retirees, leaving as friends. Street food was a spectacle: pastries, grilled meats, sticky sweets, each vendor sharing not just food but heritage. Their pride was contagious, their joy infectious. Every meal was a reminder: the best things in life are meant to be shared. In the land of sin, every table was a party. When the sun sets, the land of sin transforms. Music spills into the streets and everyone is invited to celebrate. I followed the sound of an accordion to a plaza where an impromptu dance broke out. No stage, just cobblestones and joy. An elderly couple waltzed, kids spun in dizzy circles, and strangers laughed at their own missteps. A woman pulled me into the dance, and soon I was part of a swirling, happy circle. It wasn't about skill, but participation. Elsewhere, a neighborhood festival filled the streets with lanterns, long tables, and shared food. Strangers offered me plates and drinks, eager to share their culture. Their pride was matched only by their generosity. The real sin here? A deep love for a good party. In this land, joy is always communal. After a few days, Land of Sin felt like a wonderful, ironic joke. The only excesses here were kindness, generosity, and joy. The real heart of this place was found in small, everyday interactions. A culture built on warmth and community. Maybe the name was a playful rebellion, a way of saying we believe life is for living. If that's a sin, they're happily guilty. I sat with a local artisan as he carved a wooden bird, sharing stories and pride in his craft. Here, happiness came from connection, not commerce. This journey taught me the world is full of nuance and surprising beauty. The land of sin wasn't sinful, it was soulful. As my trip ended, I realized the best souvenirs weren't things. They were memories and connections. I'd remember Elena's pride, the laughter at the card table, the woman who pulled me onto the dance floor. These moments are the real treasures of travel. They remind us that, despite our differences, we all want to connect, share, and belong. This journey reaffirmed my faith in people and the power of kindness. Leaving felt like saying goodbye to 100 new friends. The land of sin had charmed me, fed me, and welcomed me. I left with a full heart, my world a little bigger, and a lot more like home. Travel is the best education. It challenges, delights, and changes you. In the land of sin, I found not vice, but connection and hospitality. The world is full of incredible cultures and potential friends. Don't let myths hold you back. Be curious, be brave, go see for yourself. Talk to strangers, try new foods, get a little lost. The rewards are immeasurable: stories, understanding, and a richer life. Every connection adds a new thread to your story. The world is friendlier than you think. Step out and discover it. You might just find your own land of sin, a place that feels a lot like heaven. Thanks for joining me. Now go find your own adventure.